Hello and welcome to the Overwhelm is Optional podcast. This podcast is for you if you value not burning out. You're sick of it. You're sick of the stress and the exhaustion. You want your life back. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Overwhelm is Optional podcast, helping you make overwhelm optional for you because, quite frankly, it's no way to live, is it? So this week we're going to be talking about life admin. So I so often hear people say to me, just got too much to do, can't get it all done. And yet we're still all trying to get it all done, like it's a possible thing. And I think it's a really good idea to sometimes just step back and look at what you're trying to do. Because it's very, very easy to get into a state where all we're doing is chasing the end of a to-do list, the end of a project, the end of a house move, the end of some crisis, the end. And that there's this wonderful warm bath of ease that exists in this mystery impossible to reach place where there is nothing else to do. If that resonates, listen up. So, this is the way I've been looking at it. Life admin. First of all, we don't even talk about the fact that it exists. We talk about work having too much, and then there's stuff that has to be done, but we don't often just sit back and go, man, just to exist, there is a ton of stuff to do. Like all these invisible things that we don't really mention. We don't really talk about the fact that really we all need a host of servants. So if you think about it in this way, this might help. Whenever it was, however long ago in history, for a very long time, we lived in tribes of about 150 people. And within that tribe, everybody would have a specialism, wouldn't they? Not everybody's trying to do everything. Not everybody's making sure the car insurance is up to date. You know, people have different roles and everybody works together. I'm not saying it was a perfect time. Obviously, there were other issues. What I'm saying is our minds haven't really evolved to cope with this sudden thing of being alone. And when I say alone, you know, there might be just you, or there might be you and your partner, you and your family, but it's still one or two adults doing the work of 150. It's crazy, you know. And then on top of that, so, okay, we've switched the having to run away from saber-toothed tigers, but now we've got, the car insurance is about to run out. The tax is going to run out, but I can't get the car insurance till I get the tax done. I can't get the tax done till the MOT's done, and all of it's suddenly gone wrong and it's blown up in your face and you need the car. So there's just like so many things, and a lot of it is stuff in order actually to just stand still. So, for example, a lot of the time we spend a lot of time moving things around, don't we? You know, moving objects around our rooms because we're using them and then we're cleaning them and then we're not using them and then they have to be put away and then they don't get put away and then they're annoying because then there's a pile of your partner's stuff that hasn't been put away and then really that should go to the charity shop and really I don't need that anymore and I should recycle this and I'm not quite sure if I should throw that away or recycle it, and now I feel really guilty because really I just want to put it in the damn bin because I don't know where to take it. And it's just like the pressures on just everyday life and the existing in a home. And it's crazy, isn't it? Because if you didn't have a home, you'd be super stressed. You don't want to be homeless. You've worked really hard to provide a home. And yet when you're in the home, if you look around, there's a lot of stress available to you. Like you could literally spend every single moment moving stuff around your house, trying to put it in the right place, trying to sort it out, trying to make it better, trying to prevent somebody falling over or prevent forgetting paying a bill. Like, a lot of what we do is preventative, isn't it? But we live in this exhausting doom of preventative measures. You know, I really ought to remember to get the car serviced or the car MOT done earlier next year and then forgetting to put it on the calendar. Or then getting anxious and thinking, actually, I don't know when my MOT is due. And it's like, then it's in your head. There's just like loads of stuff, like deadlines that feel looming and threatening, as if everything will fall to pieces if you don't do it. And it's not helped by the constant warnings that we get all the time in the post or in the media. You know, is this up to date? Do you need this insurance? This terrible thing could happen, so you need to buy this to stop. Or you can't actually stop the terrible thing happening, but it's like, if this terrible thing happened, then we could make it slightly less bad by you paying us lots of money. Oh, should I do that? I don't know, that sounds really bad. And then like your nervous system has just been constantly alerted into this high stress state all the time. And it's just a stupidly ridiculous way to live, isn't it? Things that should make us happy and more comfortable, like having a roof over our head, become a source of enormous stress because it's not that simple. Because it doesn't really matter. Well, it does matter, but you know what I mean? It doesn't matter that much what your external circumstances are if your internal circumstances are one of constant reaction to the threat of stress, which is how a lot of us live a lot of the time, and that's what leads to the overwhelm. So what do we do about it? Well, first of all, we notice it. We go, okay, so there's like a lot of hidden jobs that I'm not really acknowledging, that I don't allow time for, and then suddenly they appear out of nowhere and they're crushing and pressurizing deadlines. I don't really know what to do. So, and then it just adds to my to-do list. So just acknowledging that life admin is a thing that's not really recognised, that tends to be full of stressy pants stuff, that also can contain a lot of fear and anxiety wrapped up in it, not remembering to pay credit card bills, not remembering to meet deadlines, terrible things apparently can happen to us. And that it's just too much. Literally, there's too much life admin because we're all in separate houses. And if we were all in one big house, I'm not saying I want to go for communal living. This is not the point of the podcast. The point of the podcast is to notice what's going on. So notice that there's lots of life admin and that we don't allocate time for it because we don't acknowledge that to live in a home requires a lot of work. We think we just buy the house, pay the mortgage and hoover. But actually there's lots of other stuff going on. And because we all live separately, we're all doing the same repetitive tasks. We're all buying car insurance. We're all maintaining a car. We're all paying a mortgage. We're all paying bills. We're all doing this. We're all doing that. And they're because we've split into tiny units. So there's just more for each family to do. It's the same with child rearing. So suddenly women in general, not always, but in general, women are taking responsibility for raising children or being on their own at home with children. And I know men have a lot more to do with children now. I'm not knocking that. That's great. What I'm saying is, in general, it's still women who take on, for whatever reason, choice or whatever, who take on most of the child rearing, particularly in the early days. So this is adults at home with small humans who are very, very demanding, very tricky, and very difficult to raise well, full stop. Because they're the time when you're trying to raise them really well, your life is also happening in parallel, and you can't put your life on hold. You can't become like this super healthy, I've done all my counselling and transformative work before I have children. You're gonna screw up, but the pressure now, man, perfect parenting, trying to avoid, that's another thing going on. That's a whole nother episode, really, isn't it? So like life admin, there's parenting has the fear and anxiety and doom laden stuff, and then deadlines for schools, and there's just so much to do, right, in each household. Even if you just live alone with your cat, you've still got tons of life admin just to live in the house with your cat. So acknowledging the life admin, that a lot of it's hidden, and because it's hidden and we don't acknowledge it, we're then kind of surprised constantly that it creeps up and bites us, and then we're overwhelmed. So acknowledging its existence, and then what you could do is just write it all down, get it out of your mind, go, oh my God, I had no idea I had to do all of that every single year or every single month or every single week or every single day. Literally start to uncover life admin. I remember reading about somebody who has a method with a spreadsheet. I don't like spreadsheets and I don't want to do this. This is not a recommendation. This is just something I read. I think it was this couple, and they wrote down all of the jobs that had to be done between them. And it was ridiculous. Spreadsheets and spreadsheets of tasks that needed to be done just to maintain the home, the car, the going to work, etc., the dog. the cat. So it's a big job. Life admin's huge. So you can't do it all. You can't do it all. It's not actually possible. Oh, but Heidi, I have to, or terrible things will happen. Well, how's it working out for you trying to do it all? Because terrible things are happening while we try to avoid terrible things happening. Because what happens is we get stuck in our head, we get really overwhelmed, and then we're awake at night with loops of doom about the terrible things that will happen if we don't do all of these preventative things. I'm not saying don't pay your car tax and get your house insured. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying locate the issue. Life admin, it's huge. At this point in history, it's ridiculously huge. Then accept that you can't do it all, and then you have a choice. You can decide which things are vital, which things really do matter to you, and then you can allow time for them. Because if you don't allocate time, then, well, it's going to be stressful, because you're going to suddenly be, oh, but now I've got to do that. I was going to sit down and relax, and now I've got to do that. It's horrible, isn't it? Horrible. But you also need to allocate time to sit down and relax. So you have to get your priorities and your scheduling and look at stuff and go, so I can't do it all, because if I do it all, I'm going to burn out. I'm not going to have time to do the fun stuff and the actual living. Because if you think about it, the purpose of the life admin is to make your life better. So if the life admin is taking over your life, it's not doing its job. Literally, all you're doing is barely surviving. Even if it's, and you're barely surviving in rich comfort. How crazy is that? But it's what happens, isn't it? We work really hard, we get really successful in our job, we start our own business, and blah, 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 blah. Now, we're not really living, we're just surviving, albeit in outrageously rich comfort. We have televisions and cars and carpets and hoovers and dishwashers and stuff, and we can go on holiday, but we're not, all we're doing is maintaining all of those things. Our mind is preoccupied with the maintenance of our lovely life we've worked so hard for. So we're not actually living that life, we're maintaining it. So what to do? Well, if you can't afford servants, you can see why rich people in the past in those great big houses had an army of servants, can't you? And it's crazy, isn't it? Because a lot of the things that are causing us stress are the machines that were supposed to give us free time, like dishwashers and washing machines. And don't get me wrong, I love mine. It's brilliant. When it goes wrong, it's not much fun. But I think we need to take back control and we do that by realising. It's that acknowledgement. There's a crazy amount of life admin. I really want to live this life. I don't just want to be, like feeding the dishwasher, feeding the washing machine. It's just not right, is it? So work out what you can do, what you want to let go of, what you can automate, what you can outsource, or at least start with the acknowledging. There's a huge amount of life admin, and that's why I'm feeling so pressured and overwhelmed. Just start from there. Notice how it feels that there is so much life admin. And then as you notice that, you can notice your resistance to doing it. And maybe the reason you're resistant to doing it is there's too damn much and you really wanted to have fun and relax today. And that's okay. You're still going to have to do some of it, but work out. You can't do it all, so choose. And you get to choose. You get to take back control. You get to change things so they work better for you. And there are plenty of systems and tech actually to help you, like how to remember birthdays, how to automate birthday card sending, or, whatever's important to you. Or if you're too stressed, why are you sending birthday cards when you're stressed? Because a stressed birthday card isn't much fun to receive. It might look like you're thinking of that person, but actually you're just getting stuff done and you're really stressed and it's not good for you. What would happen if you didn't send any birthday cards for a year? What would happen? Would all your friends hate you? Well, they're not great friends, are they, if you missed one birthday card? So we have to choose. We can't do it all, so we're going to have to change what we do. We're going to have to drop some things, because otherwise You don't get to live. And that's your choice. Because you want to live well, you have to make a choice. So, face the life admin. Write it all down if it helps. Get it out of your head. Just look at the mess. Look at it. Think, God, no wonder I'm so stressed. Self-compassion. Then bring in some self-kindness. What do I want to do? What can I drop? What can I outsource? What can I automate? How can I make this easier? And how can I make it fun? Because a lot of the things should be fun, like walking the dog, buying birthday presents, I don't know, deciding what to eat. Shouldn't that be a lot more fun? But doesn't it become really hard? Like every day I'm like, what am I going to cook today? But on a day when I'm in the mood to decide what to cook, it's fun. So for me, it's about moving things and constantly asking, how can I make this easier? How can I make it more fun? How can I stop doing all this life admin? I don't know. How can you? I'll leave that with you. Wishing you an unexpectedly lovely week, as you now know that life admin is ridiculous and out of control, and of course you feel overwhelmed. Just feel the ease in that. Put the life admin down for a moment and decide what you really want. Then ask, how can I make this easier and how can I make this fun? See you next week. To find out more about my tiny, huge, life-changing practices, please visit www.heidimark.co.uk.